Just a little while ago, I paid $15 through a mobile payment app, and honestly, my hand didn't shake for even a second. I didn't hesitate at all. Just one tap and done. But last night, when I was paying for an Uber ride and pulling a $10 bill and a $5 bill out of my wallet, I suddenly caught myself thinking, wait, was that ride really worth 15 bucks? Now think about that for a second. Same person, same wallet, yet the feeling is completely different. We can spend hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars online without feeling much of anything. But the moment we have to hand over just $15 in physical cash, something inside us starts to feel uncomfortable. And do you know the scariest part? Online, we often buy things impulsively. Things that, if we had to pay with real cash, we probably would have stood there thinking about for 10 minutes before making the decision. So why does this happen? Why do digital payments feel so easy and so comfortable to us? And why do the world's biggest tech and fintech companies want you using credit cards, Apple Pay, and digital wallets instead of cash? Today, we're going to uncover a hidden psychological secret inside the human brain. Something scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, have been studying for decades. We usually think money is just a piece of paper. But the human subconscious mind doesn't see money as just paper. To the brain, money represents something much deeper. Your time, your effort, your sense of security, and ultimately, your survival. When you hold a $100 bill in your hand, your brain subconsciously calculates, I worked hard for this. I spent hours of my life earning it. So the moment that money leaves your hand, the brain experiences it as a genuine sense of loss. Back in 1998, two famous behavioral economists, Drazen Prelec and George Lowenstein, developed a theory to explain this exact human behavior. They called it the pain of paying. Later, neuroscientists used fMRI brain scans and discovered something fascinating. When you physically hand cash to another person, a region of your brain called the insular cortex becomes highly active. And here's the crazy part. This is the exact same area of the brain that activates when you experience physical pain, like getting injured or cutting your hand. In other words, to your subconscious mind, losing hard-earned cash and experiencing physical pain are processed in almost the exact same way. Cash transactions create a physical experience. You hold the bills, you count them, and then you physically hand them over to another person. At every step, your eyes and your hands are sending signals to your brain. we're permanently losing a valuable resource right now. But online payments? Money becomes nothing more than changing numbers on a screen. No physical touch, no visual sense of loss, no real emotional friction. And because of that, the brain's pain center stays surprisingly quiet. To scientifically prove that digital money increases both our spending speed and our willingness to spend, two professors from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, conducted a fascinating experiment back in 2001. They organized an auction among students for tickets to a high-demand Boston Celtics basketball game. The students were divided into two groups. Group A, if they won the ticket, they had to pay using physical cash only. Group B, if they won, they were allowed to pay with a credit card. And the results completely shocked the researchers. Students paying with cash were willing to bid an average maximum of around $28 per ticket. But the students using credit cards, they were willing to pay up to $60 for the exact same ticket. That means card users were willing to spend more than twice as much money compared to cash users without much hesitation at all. After the experiment, the researchers jokingly came up with a now famous line: "Always leave home without it." In other words, if companies want people to spend more money, keep cash out of their hands. But science didn't stop there. In 2021, researchers attached EEG devices directly to participants' heads to measure brainwave activity in real time. And what they discovered was incredible. During digital payments, instead of triggering pain signals, the brain often produced a unique reward response, a pleasurable reaction, similar to receiving a small psychological reward. The same study revealed something even more interesting. Participants were asked whether they would buy an expensive pair of headphones. When they had to pay with cash, only 44.88% said yes. But the moment mobile app payment was introduced, that number jumped to 52.59%. And the meaning behind this is surprisingly simple. Cash naturally discourages spending. It forces your brain to feel the loss. But digital payment systems, they reduce that psychological resistance, making your brain far more comfortable with spending money. This entire global psychological phenomenon is known in economics as the cashless effect. According to global statistics, in 2023 alone, digital wallets processed around $3.1 trillion in transactions, making up nearly 50% of the global market. And according to a 2024 survey by Forbes, 52% of people admitted that having access to cards or digital payment systems causes them to make more impulse purchases, buying things without really thinking them through. So the real question is, what exactly are fintech companies doing? What they're really doing is reducing your spending friction, the mental resistance your brain normally feels before spending money. Back in the day, your brain had multiple chances to stop, pause, and think before making a purchase. Take out your wallet, count the cash, enter the PIN, sign the receipt. Every step forced your brain to acknowledge, I'm spending money right now. But modern payment apps, they're intentionally designed to eliminate that thinking time completely. One-click payments, auto-saved card details, Face ID, fingerprint authentication, tap-to-pay systems. Everything is engineered to make you think less and pay faster. Because the less time you spend thinking, the more money companies make. So, is this simply a natural weakness of the human brain? No. Many large tech companies intentionally exploit this weakness to build what experts call the dopamine economy. Pay close attention to what happens after you complete an online payment. The moment the transaction succeeds, your screen lights up with a satisfying green check mark. Then comes that pleasant little ding, and immediately after that, cashback offers, scratch cards, reward points, loyalty bonuses. Now think about how powerful that psychological trick really is. At the exact moment, your brain should be feeling the pain of losing money. These systems instead trigger the release of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. In other words, companies have transformed the painful experience of spending money into something that feels fun, almost like a game. And the even bigger trap, the subscription model. In behavioral economics, this is called decoupling, separating the feeling of consumption from the feeling of payment. Today, you're watching movies on Netflix, streaming shows on Amazon Prime Video, using premium apps every single day. But because the payment is automatically deducted from your account each month, you barely notice it happening. You enjoy the service now, while the pain of paying quietly becomes invisible. And that is the true power of digital payments. They hide your spending in plain sight. Now, one thing needs to be made absolutely clear. Are digital payments bad? Not at all. In fact, they're one of the greatest inventions of the modern world. Today, we can pay utility bills within seconds without ever leaving home. We can instantly send money across the country, and we can handle international transactions directly from our phones. Digital payments save time, they increase convenience, and they improve security. So the real problem isn't the technology itself. The real problem is most people don't realize how deeply this technology is quietly changing human behavior. Recent studies have shown that people who rely heavily on contactless and digital payment systems often struggle to accurately remember how much money they've spent. And on average, they also tend to spend significantly more than cash users, sometimes by nearly 48%. Why? Because digital payment systems suppress the emotional signals your brain normally feels while spending money. You think you're making completely rational decisions, but in reality, your brain is often operating on an invisible autopilot mode, one carefully engineered by corporations to make spending feel effortless. So how do we protect ourselves from this trap? The good news is there are a few simple but incredibly effective strategies you can start using immediately. First, the 24-hour rule. When you suddenly find something online that you want to buy, don't hit buy now right away. Leave it in your cart, close the app, and wait 24 hours. If you still genuinely feel that you need it the next day, then buy it. You'll be shocked how much unnecessary spending disappears overnight. Second, keep payment notifications turned on. Always enable instant push notifications and SMS alerts for your banking apps and credit cards. The moment money leaves your account and a notification appears on your screen, your brain gets a quick reality check. It reconnects the emotional feeling of spending with the actual loss of money. Third, use physical cash for major purchases. Before buying an expensive gadget or going on a serious shopping trip, intentionally carry physical cash with you. Because when you physically hand over 10 $100 bills to a cashier, your brain fully experiences the true weight of that purchase. And sometimes, that emotional friction alone is enough to stop you from overspending. At the end of the day, remember this: technology has absolutely made our lives easier. But at the same time, it has also changed the way our minds work. So the next time you pay using Face ID, Apple Pay, or just a simple tap on your phone, stop for 1 second and ask yourself, did I really want to buy this? Or was the system designed to make me buy it? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and share it with your friends so they become more aware too. And honestly, tell me in the comments, since digital payments became part of your life, do you feel like your spending has increased? See you in the next video. Stay safe and spend smart.